I had a week to make this presentation. I did it in an hour. Best of luck. Welcome, Kita and chat. Welcome. Why should you all be playing D&D? I will tell you why. Let me explain a little. I'll tell you what D&D is, how to get started, the classes you can play, and the pros and cons. Never mind the grammar. Next. I don't know what that was. What is D&D? What is D&D, you ask? D&D is a tabletop RPG. What is a tabletop RPG? Essentially role-playing a game that you play around a table. It's just you and your mates role-playing thing. You have someone playing a dungeon master. What's that? Not this. It's not that kind of dungeon master. It's something more like this, where you have someone who creates and tells the story of the world, essentially. And you next have your players, where the DM creates and tells the story of the world. The players play individual characters that interact with the world. Everything is determined by dice rolls to make the game fun and fair. How does one play? So you need a game master. So you know how I mentioned that dungeon master? You need to kidnap one of your friends and force them to play it. They will love it. They will say, "What, I wish I was a player," but they secretly love the trauma that they can inflict on their fellow players. You need a bunch of people to play, a group of friends or some strangers, or it could just be one DM and a player. It doesn't matter, as long as you have someone creating the story and someone to play in that world. You need dice to tell the outcomes of rolls and things to keep things fair, and you also have to pray for your schedule to work out, but that's more on that later. Dice. Essentially, how the dice work in D&D is you roll a d20. Essentially, if you roll towards a 20, you do really good. If you roll a 20 itself, you do exactly what you wanted and a little bit more with a little bit of a flourish on it. If you roll low, like a 1, things go very bad. You don't end up getting what you want, and maybe you do it in a little bit more embarrassing way. People are very particular about dice. Dice are very pretty and shiny and not edible, apparently. But that's besides the fact. It's a known thing that you shame your dice when they fail you and they roll bad. You put them in jail and let them know that they have committed crimes against you for failing. That d20 knows what it did. Next. Okay. Classes. Let me tell you about classes in the quickest and most non-subjective way possible. I'll try and be quick. Barbarians. They are filled with rage. This rage makes them strong, and they go in headfirst into battle. They don't need armor, because they've got anger and 2 arms. Let them be unleashed. Bard. We have bards here. Bards are very eloquent with their words. They have the riz, as kids would say. They're talented in words and music and are just very versatile. They can heal, they can damage, they can make you cry with the power of their insults. They may have fucked a dragon. I don't know. That's a rumor. Clerics. You pray to a god. This god has bestowed your magic. As long as you're a devout follower, you get magics. They do big heal, but they don't just big heal, they also big damage. Very tank. They thank their god for protecting them, and also destroy those who get in their way. Druids! You speak for the trees. Not quite, but you live a nomadic lifestyle where you can become, in fact, a bear. You can be animals, you can cast magics, you can heal. Very tanky, very versatile, very cool. Sorcerer! You are magic. You or someone in your bloodline has something in them that has made you magic, and you can cast spells in various ways, different to everyone else, because you are just one with it. You are just that cool. You are still squishy, unfortunately, but, you know, it's worth it for the cool powers you have. Ranger. You are great at traveling. You are great at exploring the wilds. You're very versatile. You're a sharpshooter and an expert hunter. I realize I've missed Monk, but oh well. Warlock. You said I don't have magic powers? Okay, I'm gonna find someone who does. And you ask your eldritch sugar daddy to grant you those powers. You make a contract. You fulfill that contract, you get magic powers. You upset your deity, you may end up being a normal guy, but it's all cool. It's worth it for that eldritch blast. wizard. You're a nerd, but be careful who you call a nerd in high school, because eventually, if they live long enough, they can change the world in themselves by their pure power alone. So, you know, they may be squishy, but if they get through it, you watch yourself. I did miss a couple of other things like monks and how cool they are, and artificers and blood hunters, but I don't have time to go back, so you'll have to ask me about that another time. Pros of playing D&D. You have live-long friendships. I meant lifelong friendships, because you are telling stories together as a team. You will remember these stories for years to come. There's so much you can do. It boosts your creativity. I find myself drawing more, creating more whenever I play D&D. And there's also shipping, but we don't talk about that. It's just a positive for me alone. You don't have to ignore that, really. But yeah, live those stories and tell them tales. Cons? Well, there's a few. One is having people to play with, and the rest is scheduling. When you live in a busy adult life, it's hard. It's really, really hard to get everyone together to play a game. But when you do, it's so worth it. So, in the end, thank you. This is my presentation of the way you should play D&D. That was a lot of information. I'm sure it doesn't make sense, but thank you. Bye!